why the Monkees Matter, teenagers, television, and American pop culture. And now your dean is here, so say whatever you guys said before.
There you go. Well, there you go. So this is the book, and it's crazy following Kant and Pluto and all sorts of things. And it truly is about the 1960s TV show, which starred the Monkees. They became a rock group. They're actually in their 50th anniversary tour right now all over the country. And it's a critical studies look at the program. We're laughing at the idea that they're a rock band and a TV show, and how can you possibly take them seriously? But in the late 1960s, their program was riddled with political commentary about the Vietnam War that they got away with while other programs were being canceled, because many people thought this was a program for children. So they dismissed some of the jokes along the way. My favorite example is they were playing dominoes once, and one gentleman asked the other, "What do you call this game?" And Peter Tork, who was the dumb one, said, "This is called Southeast Asia." Because of the domino theory, right? And no one censored that, which, you know, Laugh-In and other shows are going to get in trouble for doing. So I looked into the cultural revolution that it caused on television. I looked into what was going on with teenagers in America at that time. It was the beginning of young girls deciding who they liked, and teen idols were a very important thing. And there's a lot about sexuality. There's a lot about how identity affects the lives of actors, that once you were known as being a teen idol, no one could take you seriously again. As an audience, we've become more sophisticated, so that back in the day, poor Davy Jones could never grow out of being the boy Marcia wanted to take to the prom. But today, Neil Patrick Harris has been allowed to grow up from Doogie Howser into a Tony-winning performer in America. Davy Jones had actually had a Tony nomination for being in the cast of Oliver before he joined this program, and he was never taken seriously again, which was unfair to his career. We've become better at understanding the Renaissance man and woman as a performer in America, and that we can have more than one talent, and I think that's really important. And then I also look at the issues that came up with both gender representation. My idea was that I'd watch a show about 4 rock and rollers, and it would be about who was having sex with which pretty girl every week, which is what the Big Bang Theory essentially is about today, even though they're all 4 scientists, right? And because of the 1960s and what you could and couldn't do on television, as a matter of fact, that wasn't what they were about at all. And I noted in all 58 episodes, it only ran for 2 years, they never once dated a girl who didn't have her own job, or was a student who was very interested in getting an education and moving ahead in the world. Who would have expected that? So my overall understanding was that as I watched this as a child, that must be why I decided to grow up and get a PhD, because if you wanted to marry a monkey, you had to be smart. And then there's a little bit about, obviously, representation of ethnicities. Mickey Dolenz, if you remember, was the funny drummer. He was an Italian back in the day. That's before The Godfather made Italians relatively well known. So he was as ethnic as you could be on television. That sounds silly to us today. If the show had been made 10 years later in the 70s, he probably would have been portrayed by an African American. But it was too soon for that to be allowed as a lead character. So it's really interesting to watch that trajectory of Italians in entertainment and how they went from gangsters to cops to your average normal person, and how that happens to every ethnicity on television. We don't seem to be able to grow out of that. Everyone has to start as a bad guy first and then slowly move into the mainstream. So I looked at all that stuff, and as I admitted in the introduction, while I wanted to publish something academic about this program, which had been overlooked in the importance of innovations in television, I also wanted a good excuse as a 50-year-old woman to meet the teen idol of my childhood, who was Mickey Dolenz. So there you go. That's really why I wrote the book, and that's why I'm happy it's published.